Hello and welcome to the show, coming from your typical £2.50 shed brothel, otherwise known as your average YouTube studio. In this episode, I take on a stag do company called Freedom, a company that gives you as much freedom as Brittany gets on Father's Day. I'll let you know exactly what happened on a Freedom organised stag do, roughly how much profit I think they made, and if I managed to beat them or not. This story starts when my cousin invited me in 2019 to a stag do in Bulgaria, which was due to happen in July 2020. At which point I paid a £25 deposit to a stag do business called Freedom. Now, it's worth noting here that stag do's normally fill me with dread because I'm as alpha male as Postman Pat and my alcohol tolerance is the same as a newborn baby. However, it's my cousin, and whenever I've gone out with him, which hasn't been very often, but it has happened, I've had a great time. Then fast forward to March 2020 when you know what happened, and by April 2020 it was clear that the stag do was not going to take place. I called Freedom, I asked them for a refund of my deposit, which they declined, saying they had no obligation to issue a refund. I went away, I found out that a company that cancels a package holiday where travel wasn't involved was a slightly grey area under the package travel regulations, but after checking with the Competitions and Market Authority, it was clear that, yeah, I should be refunded. So I went back to Freedom, and after telling them what I found out, the response I got was refreshingly candid, as I was told over the phone that they were refusing to issue refunds to protect their business. Which is like saying, well, yeah, we're breaking the law, but what can we do? We just like money too much. I then had one of three options. Option one, take legal action, which would be way more time than it's worth. I never saw Ally McBeal arguing over £25 in court foot before. I could cancel and lose the deposit, or go along and book as much as I could directly, hence taking on Freedom head on. So that's the option I chose. I chose option 3. The list included bubble football, where you play football in a giant bubble because playing football pushing 40 just isn't hard enough. The classic combination of unlimited beer and pizza because my belly is just crying out to be a sphere. And accommodation with free nightclub entry and an escape room. However, every escape room experience now pales into comparison to like charity lunch with Bill flipping Cosby. So I had paid £25 already, and bubble football was only £28. I bit the bullet, paid the additional £3 to go along. Now, as this was a group booking of 11 people, including myself, at a sports centre in Blackpool with only one person managing it, my guess is that Freedom probably made around £8 to £15 a head, giving them approximately around about £13 profit, going lower end here per person, giving them a nice healthy profit of at least £143 to begin with. Next up on the list was unlimited beer and pizza at, drumroll please, Bella Italia, which was charged at £40 a head. Now, given that each pizza is around £8.45 and beer is around £4 a pint, that does sound like it could be a potentially great deal if you lined up 4 to 5 beers in a row and just chugged away till you nearly puked. Such fun. However, the group were conveniently ignored with huge delays on service. The beer apparently tasted like soap. I tried to get in, they didn't have space because I wasn't on the original booking. So I found a restaurant where I had these bad boys. I mean, just look at them, will you? I've never had a thought that I wanted to f*** something that I eat, but these made me think again. Now, details of the Bella Italia cost price are a little bit sketchy, but looks very similar to this offer, which is £27.99. Across 10 guys, this gives Freedom a profit of around about £120. So Freedom's profit total so far is £263. Next up is Freedom's jewel in the crown with profit making. It's the accommodation. Now, we stayed at the Wellington Hotel where I paid £120 for a 2-night stay in a single room, and I paid that directly. Now, on the surface, Freedom charged cheaper prices, £110 for 2 nights. Amazing! Until you understand how they make a profit, which is rack 'em, stack 'em, and f*** 'em. So for the other 10 guys, Freedom booked one double room where 2 guys shared, giving Freedom a profit of £92. They booked one triple where 3 guys shared, giving Freedom a profit of £195, and a family room 4-4, where 2 guys had bunk beds, 4 guys shared in one room, giving Freedom a profit of around about £300. Now, I must also add that included with the accommodation was a nightclub booking for only one night in a nightclub called Brannigan's, which had no entry fee attached anyway. They also booked an escape room, which as far as I could tell was done at cost price. There was also a theme park booking as well, and they do provide group bookings. Now, although I couldn't find exact prices, I'm going to assume that Freedom made around £10 per head, adding another £100 to their profits, giving them a grand total of £950. Now, do not get me wrong here, there's nothing wrong with making a healthy profit in business. I too have made very big, easy profits from packages I've sold across my previous businesses. I'm just highlighting this to show you how they work. If anything, it's a business model really to admire, because just for a few phone calls and giving people access to a payment management system, they make nearly £1,000. Now, factoring in all the aspects here, the things that I booked directly and everything else that I did on the Stag Do, I declare the winner of this fight as, unfortunately, as Freedom. You see, no one else on the Stag Do voiced any concern about booking with Freedom whatsoever. And although I kept my opinions about Freedom to myself, I had a Victor Mildrew voice in the back of my head complaining about everything, which, to be honest, did put a dampener on my enjoyment. Now, would I recommend that you book with them? No, not at all. Spend a few hours researching and book things directly. Would I recommend using a company like them? No. Would I use them to book a Stag Do? Hell no, unless a gun was quite literally put to my head. Even then, it would be a maybe. Now, would I do the same thing if someone else booked a Stag Do that I got invited to through Freedom? I'm afraid the answer is no, and I would more than likely pay for everything minus the accommodation direct through Freedom, because at the end of the day, eating the best fuckable pork dumpling that Blackpool has to offer and avoiding soapy beer is no substitute for taking yourself away from the group and being with this guy. Also, the business structure is just something to behold. I mean, opening a Stag Do business is incredibly easy and can generate big profits for very little effort. You do need to invest in a great online system that can track payments, and you do need to spend a good few weeks building up your suppliers for sure. But once that's in place, you're away. So I can finally declare that the rock I had lodged in my bum about Stag Do's has been removed. Hooray! And I genuinely can't wait until the next one. That was my show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do like the video, leave me a comment below and subscribe to the channel. Take care of yourself, and I will see you soon. Cheers.